Prime Minister Manuel Valls and his budget-saving cut.
That's right, poor Manuel Valls. He's facing resistance within his own party to his plan to cut spending by 50 billion euros. Let's take a look at the front page of Les Echos, the business paper. It's talking about this rebellion that's spreading within the socialist majority in Parliament. Many socialist MPs are upset with this saving plan, saying it's too harsh, there's too much belt tightening. And if we take a look at Le Figaro, they tell us that the socialists are actually demanding an amendment to Valls' plan. 11 socialist MPs have written a letter to the prime minister asking him to limit the cuts in public spending to 35 billion euros. They want quite a big change to the plan. Now, another piece in Le Figaro points out how serious this is. Basically, this revolt is quite serious for the prime minister, but he has a trump card. According to the Constitution, he can dissolve Parliament if there's too much blockage. But this is quite a radical solution that's unlikely to happen. But the fact that a lot of media are even talking about it is proof of how serious the situation is.
Now, Flo, as you say, left-leaning press is also focusing on the fact that within the socialist camp itself, not everybody is a happy camper.
That's right. Libération also talks about a revolt that's going on over this saving plan, on the verge of a revolt, not quite there yet. This is kind of the straw that broke the camel's back because it comes after a string of decisions by the prime minister and the president that have upset a lot of people in the Socialist Party. Many people in the Socialist Party are angry with François Hollande. They think he's betraying his socialist values by putting in place austerity measures and an economic policy that's a little bit too much to the right for their liking. A lot of media are talking about a toothpaste effect. Now, what is this? Well, they're saying that the Socialist Party is so upset. It's kind of like a tube of toothpaste that's so full that if you just push on it a little bit, everything comes out. Now, I've pulled out a drawing that also shows that there's this feeling that enough is enough. This is by Plantu in Le Monde. You can see there a socialist with his hands tied behind his back being force-fed austerity measures, everything. And now there's this Valls plan. So it's just proof that the socialists can't swallow anymore.
Well, if we leave Valls aside for a second, French prisons is also in the headlines today. Why is that, Flo?
Well, that's because the latest penitentiary figures have come out. In April, the number of inmates in France broke all records. There are 68,859 people behind bars. That's a 2% increase since last year. But keep in mind that in France, there's only space for 57,500 prisoners. So there's quite a lot of overcrowding there. Now, why is that? Why is the number of inmates increasing? Well, La Croix, the Christian paper, takes a closer look and actually blames France's penal code and says it too often fast-tracks criminals into prisons. And also, there's no real hierarchy between the crimes. For instance, rape, traffic violations, and internet piracy are all on the same level. And so this leads to a saturation of the system. So what's the solution? Well, Le Figaro takes a closer look and says that France really needs to focus on alternatives to incarceration, things like suspended prison sentences or electronic surveillance, etc. And this article points out that more and more France is focusing on that.
Okay, if we step away from France for a second, what are the French press saying about Algeria's presidential elections yesterday?
Well, you bear in mind there's a big diaspora here in France of Algerians, and there was not a lot of enthusiasm, according to Le Figaro, within the diaspora. For instance, a polling station was actually opened in Saint-Denis, that's north of Paris, where Algerian citizens could vote. Well, a lot of people chose to go to the cafe instead, according to this article in Le Figaro, saying it didn't really make a difference. They believe that the result will be a foregone conclusion, and that's that Abdelaziz Bouteflika will be re-elected. But there's a similar feeling in Algeria as well. There's a feeling things won't change. But L'Opinion points out that there is one thing that has changed in Algeria, and that's access to internet. Since December, 3G technology is available, and this has significantly changed things for Algerians, according to L'Opinion. It gives them a way to speak out and vent their frustration to the government. So even if things don't change, at least they have a way to speak out.
Well, Flo, we are eagerly anticipating those results. We're expecting them in not a very long time. Now, finally, a quick look at the French press. They are paying tribute to Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
That's right. He was very much appreciated here in France, so the French press is paying tribute to him. It's on the homepage of the French version of the Huffington Post. Very simple there. Gabriel Garcia Marquez is dead. Now, he was well known, amongst other things, for his novel 100 Years of Solitude. So let's take a look at the front page of Libération. They're talking about eternal solitude now for Garcia Marquez.
Okay, Flo, thank you very much for that update. We'll also be speaking to you a bit later on in the programme. Okay, coming up just after the break, Bosnia was rocked by anti-government protests in February, which soon spread throughout the country's main cities. We take a look at the challenges which citizens there are facing. Do stay tuned to France 24.